Good evening. You're watching Outside the Box. This is a show which allows you to interact directly with political party candidates. To our daily poll now, last Friday's question was, should Fiji review its international peacekeeping obligations? 80% responded with a yes, while 10% disagreed. Today's question is, should the current teacher-student ratio in the classroom be reduced? Text your answer a simple yes or no to 3592. The poll is opened to Vodafone, Digicel, and Ink users. Charges apply. First in the show tonight is Lynda Tabuya from the People's Democratic Party. Bula, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mika Bula Vinaka and Bula Fiji.
Thank you. Now, first question, Ms. Tabuya, the Prime Minister of Orangi Bainimarama, who is also the leader of Fiji First, the last few days, has said that the battle for elections this year is between Fiji First and SODELPA. Now, the question is PDP, do you think, is still in the race?
Absolutely, Mika. Look, I believe that, Bainimarama in his statement is really a strategy to lead people or voters to believe that it's just a two-horse race. It really isn't. I mean, it really is a way for him to let the people believe that, when he gets into parliament, that it would be all good, that there are two parties there. But, he wants people to believe, or when he gets in there, that he won't have to compromise or negotiate. But the beauty of this election system is that when you vote for your individuals, you can have several parties in parliament, and that means greater diversity of views. That means holding the government accountable and transparent. That means with diversity of views, it also means that there's no one party that rules, and that a government is not a law unto itself, and that you'll have more people represented. It's a thing of the past when you only have two parties now in government that are against each other. We're going to have multiple parties there, and I believe that they should not, rule out other parties, and People's Democratic Party, we believe, can bring in core values that SODELPA and Fiji First don't embody. Things like, democracy from the root up, things like youth empowerment, women empowerment, and a truly multiracial society. What do you
foresee after the September 17th general election?
I believe there won't be any party that will win votes, majority, because that is the nature of this electoral system, where no party will, be able to get majority, or it's a very low chance, so that, parties will have to form coalitions.
Has PDP decided who will it partner with if it wins, a couple of seats in parliament?
Thank you, Mika. At this point, no, we haven't considered a coalition because we don't believe it should be an election strategy. We will look at that after elections, what the results are, but we will only go into coalition on policy.
Do you find it rather strange that a political party is coming up with a statement to say, for example, the example of Fiji First and SODELPA? Do you think it's rather strange at this time?
Well, it's not strange at all. Like I said, it is a strategy, that Fiji First is deciding to let people believe that it's just only two parties that will be competing, and so I urge the voters of Fiji, vote for your candidate, vote for your individual, because in parliament we need diversity of parties so that there's diversity of opinions and views, and it holds those in majority accountable.
Okay. Lynda, I think there's a call online, Apinisa from Lami. Apinisa, and go ahead and ask your question.
Yes, I've got a question for Lydia. Since she first, she mentioned that she liked the beauty of this system of voting system, that everybody would be, every party, if goes into parliament, being voted one by one. How would, with all these different views, be one into parliament? And what are there will be I think there will be a chaos, and how would she be able to handle all these different views in the parliament for the people?
Right.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, it works well. Look, in New Zealand alone, in parliament, there are 8 different parties represented. And it's worked well because, apart from expressing views, there's also a need for expediency to serve the people of Fiji. So any government would be able to make sure that these views are embodied, but also move at the expediency that gives justice to the people of Fiji.
Thank you. Mr. Mwe, there's been promises that the 2013 Constitution will end the coup culture. Do you think so too?
I don't think so, Mika. In the form that it is in, you know, there's immunity in there in the sections of the Constitution that this government has imposed to protect itself. But the thing is, if you're going to preach equality before the law and equality and equal citizenry, it doesn't really apply because we are not equal under the law. Those people have greater immunity, greater protection than any of us in the public.
Okay, just quickly to the text question from one of our viewers. Who will be the Prime Minister if your party wins this election?
It will be our leader, Felix Anthony.
Do you think he'll make a great one?
Yes, he will.
Yeah?
Yes, I do believe though. I mean, he's always fought for human rights. You know, he's fought for workers' rights, which is human rights. He believes in indigenous rights. He's also, you know, multiracial in his makeup. And, you know, workers' rights are pervasive. It applies to everyone in Fiji, regardless of race or color or creed. You know, you've got to improve the social justice issues in this country and raise the wages and salaries so that you can afford the cost of living. And this is what we fight for.
I mean, Felix, the way he relates, you know, when he's asked of an issue, you know, he's always, people see it as forceful. And do you think he should tone down when he becomes a PM?
Look, I think it's more of speaking out of passion. He's very passionate about what he believes in. I mean, you may speak forcefully or speak passionately, but you really got to see at a person's track record. As the Prime Minister has challenged the people of Fiji, I mean, the track record is really there. He's, you know, he's always fought for workers' rights, and you've got to be passionate about what you're doing. And it is the difference between intellect and passion when you serve in Parliament.
Just go back to an early issue. You mentioned equal citizenry. What's your understanding of this?
It is to be equal before the law. And so the law applies equally to everybody. And that's what, you know, and in terms of equal access to opportunity, you know, and every person should have that equal access. Whether they choose to take it or not, it's up to them. But we've got to have equal access to
So where does it leave the indigenous Fijians, you know, in this equal citizenry that's been mentioned? Where does it leave the indigenous Fijians' rights?
Look, we've got to consult on the name, the common name, Fijian. You know, it's got to go back to the people. But when it comes to equal opportunity or access, it's got to be there for everybody. And the law has got to apply equally to everybody. And so ETLK rights are human rights. So we've got to recognize that, and we've got to give that where it belongs. And that, again, is something that must go back to the people, and you've got to bring back the institutions like the Great Council of Chiefs that can work with government to move the country forward.
There's a caller on the line. Good evening, caller. Go ahead and ask your question.
Hello.
Yeah, Lynda Tabuya, go ahead.
Yeah. I just want to ask, because she's a lawyer, I got hacked in TPAF. I have been running to this government for last 6 years.
Yeah? What is your question, Mr. Shamim?
Because I got hacked and I've been running to this Labour Department office for up and down for last 6 years. Nothing has been done until now.
Okay. Lynda, he's asking, he's been running to the Labour Department after getting hurt at the workplace. Nothing has been done now. If your party comes in, what can you do?
Look, absolutely. We are going to address your issue because everyone who has had issues, you know, in the workplace and even wages councils and things that have been removed will be brought back. All the cases will be expedited in court. We certainly must address this issue, and it's really, and I'm really sorry about what you're going through, but we need to address this. It's where workers' rights are human rights.
Thank you, Lynda. I think time has caught us. Just one question before we go. Do you think there's an indigenous institution out there?
In this indigenous institution, what do you mean?
A Fijian institution, something you know that guides the Fijian people.
We need the Great Council of Chiefs.
Okay. It's not there.
It's not there right now.
Okay, thank you, Lynda.
Inakavailable.
Stay with us. Don't go anywhere. Joining us next is Ratu Semi Momoedonu from the One Fiji Party. Welcome back. Join our discussion live tonight by texting in your questions to 3599 or call our studio line 3302-100. And remember, you can have your say in our daily poll. The question is still, should the current teacher-student ratio in the classroom be reduced? Simply text yes or no to 3592 to all Vodafone, Digicel and Ink users. We are now joined by Ratu Semi Momoedonu from the One Fiji Party. Good evening. Welcome to Out of the Box.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ratu Semi. Why politics for you?
Well, it's a very tough decision for me at the first place. I've been through the bottom of the politics, which most of the family members, they've gone through politics. So I've decided and I made up my decision if I could join the politics arena.
Yeah, I can remember one of your uncles, Ratu Semi Momoedonu, had joined the Fiji Labour Party, but you made your choice. You decided to join One Fiji Party. Why?
I believe in the principles and values of the One Fiji Party, which I've been approached by so many political parties which are currently running now, but I believe in the principle of the One Fiji Party.
Why do you think it makes you the best candidate, in this election?
Thank you, Mika. I've been working with the youths and also students for the past 6 years, whereby I think the standard should be raised to another level. And also we have students' needs out there which needs to be addressed and expressed as well.
What do you think is the response of our secondary school students to education nowadays? What do you think is the response like?
Thank you. The response is quite okay, especially the running of the programs at the secondary school level. One of the things that the One Fiji Party would like to maintain, especially, is the external exam. Okay. The bringing back of the external exam at secondary level.
Why is that? Why is it important to bring it back?
In the past, Mika, we've gone through the external exam process in order to raise our education standards to another level.
Okay. So what are you trying to say now? What's happening now?
As at now, I think there are some withdrawals on the education system, the education policy, especially of the external exam, which the One Fiji Party will bring it back.
Thank you. There's Joseph on the line from Narere and Bulumnaga. Joseph, go ahead and ask your question.
Good evening, Mika.
Lynda
That is an issue. What Mr. Momoedonu will do if they are given attention to Parliament regarding the issue of our Fijians.
Okay. I think, did you hear what?
Yes.
Yes, okay. What's your answer to that?
Thank you. That's a very good question. But with One Fiji, it's our decision, it's our views, that once we'll go into Parliament, we'll change some degree in legislation of the current land issue that we're having as at now.
What do you think is the status of indigenous land in the current constitution?
The status as at now is needs to be some amendment made, because I think the current administration, we thank the current administration, whereby they draft up policies, but as I've mentioned, Mika.
But what needs to be changed? What particular part of that needs to be changed in terms of indigenous land?
We have our rights as at now, but there are certain clauses in the constitution which needs to be changed, which I may not express right now.
Okay, all right. Okay. Anyway, but you feel
yes,
something has to be changed in the constitution in regards to land. Right?
Right. That's right.
Okay, tertiary education. Now, interestingly, your party has come up with an idea to convert the railway PRB flats into tertiary students' accommodation. Why?
Tertiary level education has been the accommodation status has been an issue of the past, whereby students coming as far as Vono level and Tai level, interior of Nairasiri, they find it difficult to come and stay with relatives. But they have the sponsors for them to be accommodated at the universities. But I think there's a sort of, the university itself, it has a sort of accommodation status with them. So we are thinking the railway, the current, I think it's been open today, we can convert that into accommodation.
All right, we'll go back to that question, to the issue. There's a text question from one of our viewers. How will you or your party impact the economy if it comes into power?
Thank you. In the economy, I think there are certain legislation in place, and we have drafted up a policy which I cannot maintain as at now, but our leaders are currently looking into that in the economy.
Okay, all right. Let's go back to PRB flats. It's open. It's to ensure that people out there, especially the low-wage people, to get good, decent housing, And you think, your party thinks that it has to be converted into tertiary education accommodation. I mean, it's a conflict, do you think?
It may not be a conflict, Mika, is it now? Because the same standard rate that is applied to the current occupant that will occupy the PRB flats, the same one is applied to tertiary students as well. They are paying the same rate for monthly and also per trimester and semester.
But if people are occupying, families occupying that, when you government, if it comes to power, would that be a disaster? You know, trying to get them off the the flats and getting students?
As yet now, I think we are just 2 weeks away from the election, and although there are some people who already booked into the flats as yet now, but our party will make sure that negotiation will take place for the accommodating of students at the...
What scholarship scheme do you think will work very well for Fiji?
Scholarship schemes, I think some other parties also have their own say on that. But for One Fiji, we believe that we'll continue with the scholarship, we'll extend it, we'll extend especially the minimum qualification requirements, we'll bring it down to all the students so that the student as far as Namosi can come and study at tertiary institute.
Right. There have been calls for retirement age to increase to 60, but your party wants to increase it to 65. What's the logic behind it?
Thank you. I think our party extended to 65 just because of the non-experience. Most of the teachers are coming out nowadays, so they need to be attached with all these secondary school teachers. Yeah, so we'll extend it to 60. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Momoedonu. In our final segment, Dr. Sunil Kumar from the National Federation Party joins us. Welcome back. Remember, you can join the discussion live by texting in your questions to 3599 or call our studio line 3302100. Now, Dr. Sunil Kumar from the National Federation Party joins us, an economist who's descended into politics. Bula sir, tell us why politics for a change.
Bula, Mika, it's my pleasure to be here with you. Politics today, I think in Fiji is at a juncture where we are transiting from a dictatorship towards a parliamentary democracy, and I think we need qualified people to be there to engage with the problems and deal with the issues that the people of this country are faced with.
What are the issues people are faced with?
Well, there are many issues, hundreds of issues, but firstly there is economic issue. There's a lot of unemployment in the country. I've been traveling around and I see thousands of people without jobs, and this is basically due to low economic growth. There's not enough investments taking in the country.
Right. Now, your party's manifesto has talked about economic reforms, fiscal policies, growing and strengthening the economy, national competition policies, employment, reducing VAT, and so on, but does not specify now what the party will do in terms of ensuring that all businesses, local, overseas, they adhere to the fact that they respect people by ensuring that their FNPF are paid, their POIE are paid, and their OHS issues are addressed.
Mika, thanks. That's an excellent question. But you see, with good policies, with good people, merited people in the system, all these can be achieved. We need businesses, we need to provide confidence to the businesses to be able to invest and engage in new economies, which would actually create employment for the people. And the rest of things should fall in place if we have the right policies there.
But the problem is it hasn't been able to be resolved in the last few years, and people still complaining our FNPF are not paid. How can you put an end to this? This
is the problem. I think it needs proper monitoring process. As I've said, if you have the right people, if you have right initiatives, then that all will happen. But as you know, I have always said that the civil service needs some kind of confidence. There needs to be right policies so that people do their job. If the people in the place of responsibility in the jobs are not actually doing the job, then all these problems will arise.
Exactly. It's Nirmal from the Sino on the line. Nirmal, go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, my question here is that when the government devalued the money of Fiji, I want to know what the stand of the dollar today in the world market, just like 1969 when the dollar was introduced, and today, and why the government did not increase the wages on shifting scale basis to accommodate this what you call the inflation, to cater for the poor people.
Thank you, Nirmal. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you. Thank you. Excellent question. Actually, this is one of the reasons. Devaluation has been one of the reasons why the cost of living in this country has increased. And this is where appropriate steps should have been taken, policies put in place to make adjustments to the wage rates in the economy. Either it is by sector or overall blanket adjustments. This has not happened because the government has not been sensitive towards the workers. So with a democratic government in place, with the parliamentary democratic processes, all these could be put in place, and we can actually do all those adjustments on timely basis, so that the people do not feel the pressure of such economic policies.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a text question from one of the viewers, Doc. What will your party rather, do for people in the rural areas?
Well, Mika, our policies are very clear. We believe that there are lots of poor people in the rural areas. We need to put in place policies, economic policies, to address their problems. And in fact, this country has got huge agricultural potential, which has not been realized. And this has basically been due to bad policies for a long time, and haphazard policies in the last 7 or so years, which has not solved the problem. We need to revitalize the agricultural sector.
Okay. Does your economic policies need political stability in order for it to work?
Mika, for economic growth today, the Fijian economy on average is growing at about 1.7%. This is so low in terms of developing countries. If we were to grow at a higher rate, that would mean more investments. We need FDI, we need foreign direct investments, we need domestic investments, and that can only take place if we have confidence in the economy. And political stability is number one in that.
So what will your party do if it comes to power to reduce the deficit level of the country?
Well, deficit level in this country can be brought down through diligence, through austerity measures, and to actually avoid wastages. I mean, there has been huge wastages in the way the government has been implementing their projects and policies. One needs very careful project planning. That is not happening in the government.
So do you think the 2013 constitution will end the coup culture as it's been promised?
I'm not too sure, but I think there are signs. I think there are, it has been said by the people out there, the commander has said it. So I think...
and what do you say?
Well, I think there would be stability, and I think the constitution is there, which is not the kind of constitution and not the way it has been imposed, which is kind of acceptable to me. Okay. But I think the signs are there that it will last, and any changes to it that we are actually contemplating should take place through the parliamentary process.
But do you think it'll end the coup culture?
There's no guarantee to it, but I think there are ominous signs that suggest that this coup culture could end. It is not in the interest of anyone.
Thank you, sir. And that's all for tonight. Tune in again tomorrow to view the results of our poll. Remember, you can still text in your answers. The question line will be open until 6 p.m. tomorrow. Again, the question is, Should the current teacher-student ratio in classrooms be reduced? Text in your answer yes or no to 3592 for all Vodafone, Digicel, and Ink users. Join me again tomorrow as we feature other political party candidates vying for your vote. Good evening.